The life cycles philosophy was created by Susan Kenny Stevens, who has written a book called The Lifecycles Guide to Capacity Building. She's a PhD, she's very well known for this work, and it really shows, this is for-profit can follow this method as well, for-profit and nonprofit. All of us have heard of, tech startups, right? That's a big deal right now. So when you think of a tech startup, you think of, these rogue people who are disrupting the system, and there's a lot of excitement, but there's not a lot of structure around what they do. So the life cycles philosophy looks at each phase that your organization is in. There are specific things that you're going through. So for example, if you are in a startup organization, there's not a lot of processes, there's not a lot of rules, there's a lot of gray area, a lot of churn, a lot of just trying to figure out how do we get our product to market. For a nonprofit, that's, do we have a program that people need in the community? Once people feel like that they need your program and now you're in demand, you kind of move into the growth phase. And the growth phase is, now we can't keep up. Where there's so much demand for our programs, everybody wants us, now we have to start putting structure around what we do. And that's when people start thinking about the table legs. We have to build our table. And then everyone kind of hopes to become a mature organization that's secure in funding and has the right people and all those things. So each life cycle has a different set of characteristics that mostly when I teach this method, once I get to a certain life cycle, you see a lot of people around the room going, oh my gosh, that's why we feel this way, or that's why this is happening to us, and we're not alone. We know this is a normal growth, just like there's developmental stages for children and adolescents and adults. Nonprofits and businesses have that same kind of development phase. I think some of the most common issues we see with the organizations is that most nonprofits are very mission driven, right? Because that's why they're a nonprofit. And so they focus almost all their attention on the mission and programs at the expense of their other, what we call table legs. So if you think of capacity in terms of a table, the tabletop are the wonderful programs they provide in the community, and that's what the community sees. But underneath that table, when you pull away the tablecloth, there's the management and staffing table leg. And so do they have enough staff to provide the services that they need to provide? Are those staff well trained? Are they well paid to the extent that they can? There's a governance table leg. So do they have an effective board of directors? Does the board understand its role in governance? There's a financial resources table leg. So do they have budgeting processes? Do they have a budget that can actually support the programs that they're providing? Do they have a fundraising plan? Do they have financial policies that will keep them in compliance with their nonprofit status? And then finally, what we see actually the most of is the least sexy table leg is administrative systems. And nobody gives to nonprofit organizations because they want to fund a database or they want to fund a process or a personnel policy, right? So the administrative systems is actually something we see a lot of nonprofits kind of starve that table leg because they often don't have the funding to do that, but every nonprofit has to track fundraising. They have to track their finances. So they need some type of software, they need some type of technology to invest in that, to be able to give them good data to make better decisions. So we give them permission in the capacity building programs to actually invest in that kind of capacity.